Austin, why did Willie seek you out?
Yeah, it's a good question. First off, I want to thank Coach Fritz and Athletic Director Nunez for this opportunity to come to the University of Houston. We had a great experience at Florida. Thanks to Scott Strictly, Billy Napier, we had a great experience there. Tiffany and I enjoyed our time there. He just reached out to me kind of out of the blue, and I was intrigued about Houston, not only just because of Houston and the success this program's had, but Coach Fritz. Coach Fritz is, I think if I'm correct, just won 6 conference championships at 6 different schools. And I think success leaves clues. And I have career aspirations to be a head coach one day, and we've been really fortunate to learn under a lot of people. And I think Coach Fritz is as good as any of them. And the success he's had and the opportunity to come here and build off what this staff has already done defensively made a lot of sense for us. And Tiffany and I are excited to be here. And, getting the opportunity to talk to Coach Fritz, it's pretty clear why he's successful. He's very organized. We see football very similar and the things it takes to be successful, running the football, playing team defense, and then obviously the emphasis on the kicking game. And I think if you look every Saturday in college football and every Sunday in pro football, you get a chance to win when you have that formula. So really excited to be here with him, excited to work for him.
As you did your due diligence on your end, maybe some of the stops you were at, people have crossed paths. What was maybe your side of the research? What did you kind of find out other than some things that you just mentioned?
Winning. Coaches win places that you're not supposed to win at. And Houston definitely doesn't fall into that category. So the job he's done and everywhere he's been, that's what was attractive to me. And the formula of winning football that he plays, complementary football, running the football on offense. And obviously the addition of Coach Nagel was a big deal for me, right, doing the research. I had a previous relationship with Slade, did not know him that well, but faced him before. And obviously he was at LSU last year and ran into him. That was a big reason too. I know the success we can have here collaborating and working as a team. So winning and the opportunity to come to Houston, and they've had really good defenses around here for a long time. And I think we can do the same exact thing here and build off what they did. So the environment, the environment upstairs is really important to me. I got into coaching to help young people become positive contributors to society. That's why I wanted to coach. Yeah, the strategy, the competition, the relationships, it's a threefold thing of why you got into coaching, and our vision aligns with what Coach Fritz is, not just what he stands for, but what he is. A lot of people can stand for stuff, but the reality of what somebody is really important. And the people that I talk to that have worked for him all echo the same thing. But it all goes back to winning. And Coach Fritz has done that everywhere, and I feel confident we'll do the same thing here.
What has been your take on the culture of Houston so far during your stay here?
Well, it's been quick, man. We went straight to recruiting. I guess I took the job Friday, and I flew in Friday night, and I walked into a recruiting dinner. So we've been working nonstop, and relative to the culture of the program, it's going to be a culture of toughness, a culture of commitment to excellence. And then obviously the city of Houston in this area of East Texas and Louisiana, there's good football players in the country in this area. So Tiffany and I are excited to be here, and I'm from Alabama, she's from Alabama, so the opportunity to kind of come back to a place with similar culture is really exciting for us.
Did you close the deal before dessert?
No, yeah, it worked out. We ended up getting them too, so it was a good deal for us.
Could have easily stayed where you were. Is it about fit, or do you sort of have this vision of what it will take for you to become a head coach? Is it that kind of factor into what your career trajectory is, or what you want your path to be?
Well, I think it's fit. I'm in no hurry to accomplish those things. I'm a lifelong learner. And we've been really, really fortunate in this profession at a very young age to work for a lot of really good people and have some really unique experiences. And when this presented itself, we could have definitely easily stayed, right? But the opportunity to come and work for Coach Fritz and learn for him was a no-brainer to me. And that was what was appealing, to be quite frank. And then on top of it being Houston, and I know what this place can be, and obviously in the transition in the Big 12, be a team that can compete at the highest level, and to do that with Coach Fritz and learn from him on a daily basis, that was a very humbling opportunity and something that I couldn't turn down.
Have you recruited Texas, Houston? Houston area?
A little bit. When we were at Florida, we nationally recruited, so I was in Texas some. But it's the first thing I can say. It's a privilege to recruit in the state of the best high school football in the country, and the best high school coaching in the country. And look forward to connecting with as many people as possible in this great state, and an open invitation to all Texas high school football coaches. Whatever we can do to help you, and you guys can probably help us more, we can help you. But anything we can do for any of those guys, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to get out on the road in January to connect with those people.
What words would you use to describe the defense you want to run?
Aggressive. And when you say aggressive, and you use terms like that, aggressive or pressure, people think blitzing and doing all that. Like, I think being good on defense is the ability to constantly create pressure on the quarterback and pressure on the opposing play caller. And when people say, like, hey, who are you defensively, we are multiple, but I think the biggest thing about playing championship defense is mindset. And when you look out there and you see University of Houston play defense, you want to see an aggressive, fast, big, physical group that plays with confidence, that plays with swagger, and plays with joy and passion. But you want to see a group that run and hits, right? Like, football is about running and hitting. And before we get into, like, hey, X's and O's, what do we want to be, we got to figure out what our personnel is. But the most important thing when we get together collectively as a group to build off what they've already done here is the mindset. And great defenses, regardless of level, high school, college, National Football League, they play with relentless effort and physicality. Like, regardless if they're 4-man front, 3-man front, who their coordinator is, what level they are, they play with relentless effort and physicality. And if we can't do that, we're not going to be very good regardless. And then second, it's about attacking the football. The two biggest indicators of winning college ball games right now are takeaways and limiting explosive plays. And you take the football away when you're playing fast and you're confident, and then the techniques inside of taking the football away, and you prevent explosive plays by getting your cleats in the turf, knowing what to do, and not screwing it up. So we got a long time to kind of figure that out a little bit, but that's what we want to be. We want to be an aggressive outfit that plays with relentless effort and physicality that makes the University of Houston proud about how we play. Inside of how we do it is going to be determined by what type of team we have. We have the flexibility to be what we need to be to win football games. And certainly we have certain base concepts that we're going to run no matter what. But, if we can't get that first part right, we'll have an issue with everything.
It says here that you were a defensive quality control coach at the Georgia Bulldogs. Mind telling us what that is and how that's helped you on your journey to being a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, absolutely. We were very fortunate. In 2019, we went to the University of Georgia and were as a defensive quality control. I was the assistant outside linebacker coach for Dan Lanning, and that experience has helped us manyfold. The opportunity to work for Coach Smart, Coach Dan Lanning, and Glenn Schumann, really changed the trajectory of our career, and I'll always be forever grateful for that. We wouldn't have had the opportunities that we've been able to have without that opportunity, if you want to be quite honest. And it was an incredible experience. Learning there, not just defensive football, but running the program, recruiting, every aspect of the organization. To learn it from one of the best in the business, and Coach Smart has been a great deal for us, and we're fortunate for that relationship.
Austin, since you've been hired, we got a chance to see video stuff. The energy sort of jumps out to you that you have. Where does that come from you on the sideline? And is that part of your football roots from playing, or is that just sort of the identity you built since you got into the?
Yeah, a little bit. I wasn't a very good player, so I had to make the most out of every opportunity we had. And playing football is supposed to be fun. Sometimes we lose sight of that, and I think we lose sight of how hard these kids work and how hard we work as coaches to be able to get those 12 opportunities. And I think the biggest compliment someone can give you is that you're the same person every day, and that's something that we try to be. We try to treat people the right way. We try to have a special intensity about it. I think if you want to be successful, you got to have a special type of intensity, a special kind of focus. And nothing gives me more pleasure in this game than these kids having success. And also at the same time, the accountability piece there. The consistency of who you are is so important for these players, and that's what we try to do. And I enjoy it. I love coaching. I love the competition. I love the strategy. And I love the people. And I think all those go together in that. And yeah, I love going out there and competing, and if I could still play, I would still play. But we're able to coach, and I think when in this profession, if it's not about the players and the relationships you have with them, I think you should get out, and that's why I coach. And we all work really, really hard, and nothing, like I said, gives me more pleasure when they have success, and I want to be happy for them. And the competition piece is a lot of fun there too.
I read somewhere where I guess when you were starting out, you in Alabama, you drove to all the different schools that had a football program. Can you kind of tell us about the behind that, just the wanting to, get your foot in the door somewhere, and how many you think you did, or what exactly did that process?
Yeah, so I finished playing, and then I had to come back for an extra semester of school to do my student teaching in college when I was at Huntington. And all I ever wanted to be was a football coach. I grew up in a small community where community is really important, and your teachers and your coaches are big influences on your life. But I had no real connections, right? I went to a small school. My parents weren't in athletics. My dad worked at a paper mill. My mother worked at the drugstore. And, I had to find a unique way to get in. Getting into college ball is really, really hard, and it's really challenging. So I wrote a handwritten letter to everybody that played college football from below the Mason-Dixon line all the way out to Texas at all levels, Division I, Division II, Division III, junior college, FCS, whatever, right? Just trying, hey, look, here's who I am, here's my resume. If you have anything, I'll be interested. And, to get these entry-level jobs in college football, they're very, very competitive. And so you have to do something to kind of separate yourself. Now, I wasn't, self-righteous enough to think that, hey, I wrote Coach Saban a letter in Alabama that he was just going to reply, hey, come on. There's plenty of really hungry people that are trying to find unique ways to get into this profession. So I don't know the exact number, but I wrote a lot of them. And, I zeroed in on some places. I zeroed in on, like, Bill Clark at UAB. They had just shut their program down, right? So I probably sent 20 letters to his secretary. To Coach Will Hall, who's been a big influence on my career. He was the head coach at West Georgia at that time, and just basically harassed people until I got an opportunity, and then some stuff ended up working out. So I think just kind of advice for young people: you got to find whatever way to get your foot in, and just because you work really hard doesn't mean it's going to work out either. And so we were very fortunate from that aspect.
Maybe it wasn't one that you eventually got hired by, but did anyone respond to where you maybe gave you that glimmer of hope? Maybe that.
Yeah, I can remember getting an email from UAB secretary. I got an automated mail letter from Clemson, and then no one else really replied. You know what I mean? And as a coach, you kind of understand that, right? Like, you get stuff like that all the time. But with that being said, there's a lot of times I kind of reply back to those a little bit, or reply to a Twitter message or something like that, just because I know what that felt like when you're in your career and you're trying to get your foot in the door. And even if it's just a word of encouragement to somebody, like, I've been there before. I think sometimes you get so far removed from the type situation, you kind of lose empathy with people. And I still try to keep that.
If I could ask one more. You would have been probably, about 23 at the time, 22, just coming out of...
Yeah, I think I was 21, 22.
So being 31 now, when you look at now, you've got a relationship where you were with Coach Saban briefly, Coach Smart. You think about going from door to door, so to speak, to now maybe having a little bit more street cred on the resume, just with some of the staffs that you've been able to work with and kind of grow at a faster track.
Yeah, it's probably just how humbled you are by that God's giving those opportunities, and and tried to make the most out of them. And those things are hard. This job's hard, and the ability that those people have been put in our life, and to try to be a sponge with, and to be young and be in leadership roles a lot. That's been an awesome experience that we can learn from, and hopefully we can use those skills and that wisdom that was passed on to us to help Houston be successful.
Your career has moved along, and Will Hall's been a big part of it. Was he kind of a connector between you and Willie?
No, I really don't know the answer to that question. Obviously, Coach Hall has. We wouldn't be sitting here today or any opportunities we have without Coach Hall taking a chance on a 27-year-old guy that only been a position coach for 1 year at Southern Miss. So I'll always be indebted to him and Rebecca for how good they've been to Tiffany and I in our career. But I don't know. You'd have to ask Coach Fritz that question. I don't know. We obviously had the opportunity to compete against Coach Fritz in 2022, and I always just had immense respect for what the job he did and the places that he's won. So I don't know if I can answer that question fully for you.
Have you picked up
Coach Armstrong, not all defenses are created equally. So my question is, what are some comparisons and differences you see in this Houston defense compared to your other defensive coordinator jobs, and what do you want this Houston defense to improve on?
Well, I think the biggest thing, I want to compliment the staff, the job they did. They inherited, I think, a unique situation defensively, and Coach Wood and all the guys upstairs, Coach Ross, Coach Etheridge, CY, OG. They did a phenomenal job. I think they finished top 30 in the country in defense. What also made this job really attractive is they kind of had to go through some tough stuff, and to put a very good product out there in year one is very impressive. There's some similarities schematically to what we do to what they did here, but it is pretty different. And but I think I haven't been able to get that far into it. But the biggest thing I want to like I said earlier, I think that take it step by step. It starts with mindset and approach. It starts with relentless pursuit and tackling, takeaways, and then schematically, we have to get where we play really good normal down football. We're a nightmare on third down, and we play good in situational football. So we want to improve on all those things, and we're in a constant search to try to improve on it.
Also, at your different stops, are you the type that you maybe take a little bit from this coach, take a little from this one, and sort of put it together? And if so, what maybe some of those things that you've learned from the different bosses you've had? Yeah,
I think I try to take something from everybody. I think that everybody that has a voice, I think you can learn something. You can learn what to do and what not to do. And like I said, we've been really, really fortunate in our career to be with a lot of people. We've been able to be with, when I was with Coach Napier at Florida, right? A vision of what you want everything to be, a system and checks and balances for all aspects of your group, whatever you're doing defensively, as a program, whatever, right? We're able to be with Coach Smart, right, where the tremendous amount of intensity, the tremendous amount of intensity and detail and focus it takes every day to run a championship organization. Not only that, but a championship group, from your position group to your unit as a defensive coordinator. Will Hall, very organized, treats people the right way, creates an environment in which everybody's pulling in the same direction, which I think is really, really important in today's society. And then schematically, I think we've learned from everybody. I'm always in a constant search of how a better way to do it. I think when you think you've arrived is when you have real issues. And even if we don't do it, we're always looking and self-examining and looking at people like us. Hey, what are they doing? How are they better? And there's a handful of defenses in the country that kind of play like us, so I kind of constantly study those guys. And then people that are different than us, right? Like every year we study the major categories defensively. Hey, what are people doing? Does that apply to what we're doing? And just because something's good doesn't mean that we can apply it to what we do, but we're going to search and see if there's a better way to do what we do, and if there's things we can add to our system where we can be successful.
Growing up in the shadow of Tuscaloosa, was it tough to make that decision that you had just gotten there?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Opportunity came up?
Yeah, it's kind of a unique deal. We were at Southern Miss, and in this profession, you don't get to live close to home very much. And like I said, I have a twin sister that's a Southern Miss alum. We have a lot of people connected to Southern Mississippi family-wise, and a lot of people from our area that go to school there. And, we had a tremendous experience there, and we loved Hattiesburg, and people were so great to us there. And then the opportunity, we had some options, and the opportunity to go to Alabama was something that was a big deal to us, and it was an emotional deal, right? That previous summer, my mom passed away, and kind of getting to Alabama was kind of like a God wink a little bit, how that worked out. And I'd been a coordinator, we'd had some relative success, and I was kind of looking at it as an opportunity, like, hey, I may have other opportunities to go be a coordinator, but I can come here and work for the greatest coach of all time. And if I'm the coordinator, I'm the coordinator. If I'm not, I'm not. but I think we'll grow. And I also think we could help the organization, and was really excited about that. And then you get an opportunity to be a coordinator at somewhere like Florida, kind of ends up on your desk, and you had to make hard decisions. And it was the easiest hard decision I ever made, if that makes sense. It was easy, like, hey, let's go be the defense coordinator at Florida. But it was hard, right? Because I wasn't looking at it just as that. I was looking at it as an opportunity to go grow and to grow learn. And we had some opportunities as a play caller, but the biggest thing for me was that growth. And now, did I ever think I'd be sitting in a room and looking at Coach Saban and be like, hey, no thanks? No, I didn't think that. But he was tremendous throughout that process, and it was, he has an amazing amount of wisdom, and the wisdom he gave us throughout that, a lot of things he said were true.
Was being the youngest defensive coordinator at the time in the country, was that a badge of honor, or was that sort of thrown into the fire, gotta learn, because people are watching you and saying, hey, yeah, he is the youngest?
No, I mean, I think no one cares. You know what I mean? When you're out there competing, I mean, it's about the players, not the coaches anyway. But no, I never really thought of it like that. It's humbling to have those opportunities regardless of what age you are. And we were very fortunate. And, but to your point, we've kind of had trial by fire, you know what I mean? And there's some things you just had to figure out. And we've had to lean on a lot of people. We've had really good staffs and really good players. And because of those players are why we're here today, in my opinion, and those people that have helped us. So to answer your question, people don't really care, to be honest. I think when you do good, it's a good story, and then when you do bad, it's a reason to say that you're too young.
Were your responsibilities different from this past season and the one before when Coach Roberts came in, or how did
Yeah, we had a collaboration there, and we were grateful for the entire staff there at Florida working together.
What's the activity level in the portal over the next 10 days? Do you expect to sign numerous more guys?
Yeah, I think, that starts with Coach Fritz. That's a question for him, but we're certainly looking to add players to make our defense better.
Find a red visor yet?
Yeah, well, I like a white visor, but the first day someone did bring me a black one, so I'm excited about that. I wear a lot of black out at practice. It's sweat a little bit, and it's thinning. All right, so I try to do that. But yeah, we got a black one. Looking for a white one right now.
So to be clear, it was career day, and is that the nod to Coach Spurrier?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was a cool experience at Florida of, getting to spend a lot of time with him. So, getting some wisdom from him, and he has a restaurant there. And when we were at Florida, we had a lot of activities there and stuff. And I was actually at his restaurant like 2 weeks ago, and took my guys out to eat and was able to spend some time with him. So that meant a lot. Kind of cool to come full circle from that standpoint. But yeah, it was a tribute to him, and just started wearing it, and I've worn it ever since. I don't know if I've worn a hat in 15 years. I don't know.
What has surprised you in Houston the most so far?
I don't know yet, man. I've been at this office a bunch, right? So I kind of just work and go eat dinner and all these meals with these players. So I'm excited about it. It's one of the greatest cities in the country. My wife and I are excited about moving here and taking on this challenge. And the diverse culture of this place is what makes this country great and what makes this state great. So we're really excited about it.